Good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to Tata Communications Institutional Investors and Analysts Meet 2023. Before we begin today's event, I would request you all to please switch off your electronic devices or keep them in silent mode. Kindly do not take any pictures or videos of the event and the content. A detailed presentation will be made available on our website by end of day today. Some of the statements herein constitute forward-looking statements that do not directly or exclusively relate to historical facts. These forward-looking statements reflect our intentions, plans, expectations, assumptions, and beliefs about future events and are subject to risks, uncertainties, and other factors, many of which are beyond our control. These forward-looking statements include known and unknown risks, and you are urged to view all forward-looking statements combined herein with caution. Tata Communications does not undertake any obligation to update or revise forward-looking statements, whether as a result of new information, future events, or otherwise.
When bringing the internet to India became our achievement, transforming into a Tier 1 network became our goal. When connecting businesses globally became our mission, delivering next-gen digital platform services became our vision. When metamorphosing into a digital ecosystem enabler became our driver, creating the digital fabric to power the future became our catalyzer. Synthesizing hyper-intelligent technology to unleash the next big step forward. This is what defines us. It's our DNA and our reason to be. And it empowers us to constantly transform ourselves and the world's largest enterprises. Together, we will be the transformation that the world wants to see. We are Tata Communications, a leading Comtech player.
Hi, good afternoon. Very happy to be here today. What I intend to cover during my 30-minute session is just a brief look back on what is the strategy that we announced in early 2020, what have we covered and what have we done so far and what are the results. And then we want to look ahead for the next phase of what we intend to do. So those are the two segments that I will talk about today. First is, I think I've said this before, we are in a very, very good place. I'm so happy that the execution has been solid behind a very sound strategy, and we are delivering on our strategy, and we will see how and what. Just to recap on what our strategy that we announced, we said that financial fitness is going to be both the goal and the elements of strategy. And for the growth levers, we said we need to look at the who, what, and the how. The who part was how do we deal with customers, how do we organize ourselves, how do we go deeper with fewer, and how do we execute on that. The what part was about transforming our products that was there to add layers of capabilities on top to build a platform and bundle that with a certain set of services to be able to deliver the solutions to the customers. And the how part was essentially to bring the right operating model to the business and to deliver the right experience through the model of services as well as through automation. And underpinning the what and the how was our commitment on sustainability, our commitment on automation and AI. And importantly, to do all of this, we needed to build the foundation, change the culture. We had a strong signature culture called Drive, and we enhanced that to call it as a Drive Ahead, focusing on the 6 behaviors that we wanted internally to focus on, right? And this became the foundation and our mantra. This is the strategy on a page, as we call, and this is what we announced in 2020. Now, looking at what we have done on that. So each of the pillars of the who, what, and the how. On the customer shift, as we said, we announced a team and reorganized the CST to focus on the larger customers who understand the context of the customers. Customers will have a single point of discussion with one team. And we supported that with other capabilities of service reps and the product teams getting to the front of the conversation with the customers with our 1-3-30 approach. All of that has helped in having more meaningful conversations with customers. But if you look at the results, very pleased to see the $1 million customers have substantially increased. And more importantly, even the $5 million customers, we have seen a good jump in the last 3 years. Our NPS score has always been high at the top quartile, and in the last 3 years, it's substantially jumped. Now, the aspect of NPS that we have to see is you can be doing the same thing and delivering good NPS. But what we have been trying to do is completely change the product portfolio, the kind of conversations that we are having with the customers, and getting into a lot more of complex services and activities with the customers. And we are able to maintain that high NPS, which is really on the top quartile, which is very pleasing to see. Now, the change in the product to platform shift, and we'll have actually the rest of the sessions, you will have more detailed views on how these are changing and how these have shifted. But this has helped us to drive, along with the customer shifts, to grow. If you look at FY21 and FY22, the incremental revenue that we delivered was around 900 crores. And in 23, we have delivered 1,300 crores, which is greater than the last 2 years put together. And that is what helped us to get to the 10% growth in FY23. Now, on our other commitments on ESG, I think there's been a fantastic amount of work that is being done. We have a more holistic strategy on ESG now, which is an integrated framework. Previously, we used to do still good work on CSR, good work on sustainability, but now we have a more holistic ESG strategy, and it's covering the 3 pillars of people, planet, and community. And if you look at people, there's a lot of work on diversity and inclusion with our Winning Mix program. Also, a lot of internal capability building with learning academies. And we're very pleased to see that we are getting awards on Great Place to Work, not just in India, but across the geographies. On the planet side of things, we have set again fairly ambitious goals in terms of getting to a carbon neutral by 2030 and net zero by 2035. On helping our customers, this is a very interesting measure where last year we say that if you have emitted X, we are helping our customers to save 6X, right, through our products and solutions. And a good example of that is what we are doing in the media segment, for example, with Formula 1 and Formula E race. The Formula 1 has gone on records where they used to produce on-site. Now they have taken all production to remote production, which we have enabled through our solutions to do that. And just by the fact that now they are producing remotely now, all production happens remotely and centrally. If you will, this is the cloud version of media production, right? So they are doing that. And we have been at the heart to enable this to happen. Just by doing this, they have not just saved on cost, but they have saved 30% on all their emissions that they used to have, which is substantial saving both in terms of cost as well as in the emissions that they're doing. And this is a great example of how and what impact we are making to the customers. Today that is at 6X, and we want to set ourselves a goal that we want to be able to save 20X through the impact that we make to our customers. Also, we have other goals on water in terms of how much we save on consumption, how much we recycle, how much we want to regenerate to the water bodies that we consume from. And we have very high aspirations on that as well to become water neutral. And similarly, on the recycling of the waste, we want to set a goal of zero waste by 2027. On the community side, again, there's been some very fantastic work. Again, very strong volunteering. Every single employee is signing up to that. They are volunteering into very many major programs. And some of the examples here, for example, the women upliftment, there are a series of programs that we're doing. But one example that touched me was a lady called Gauri in Pune. She gets married at a very young age, and she's become a single mother raising children. And through a series of programs that we've run, through enabling, through getting them to a road of entrepreneurship, and now also educating on digital means on how she can publicize what she is doing, that has delivered a great result. In fact, I have a quotation from what she had to say. She says, "Tailoring skills gave me new identity. The course taught me how to give quality finish to the products. I also learned how to use digital media like Facebook and Instagram for business promotion. This has benefited my business a lot, and my products are getting a lot more demand, not just from Maharashtra, but also from other states. I'm happy that I'm able to provide employment to other women. I'm thankful to the Idea Foundation and Tata Communications for this training and support, which has enabled me to be financially independent and lead a very dignified life." This is just one example. The kind of impact this is creating is tremendous, and we are motivated to do a lot more. And this is hugely motivating, not just for me, but the entire company. We have touched 3 million women, and our goal is to expand that to 5 million. And similar example in Project Nannir, where the entire lake has been renovated and has done some phenomenal and fantastic work in terms of water conservation. These are some examples of what commitments we made and what we are delivering on these commitments. And finally, all these, the who, what, and the how, what has it delivered? These are financial results. All of you are already aware of these in terms of our performance in EBITDA, the margin expansion, the PAT, the ROCE, and all of that. So I would not go into the details of this. But this, in essence, summarizes on essentially the elements of the strategy and where we are today in terms of what we have done and what results it has produced. Now, what next? We called out as part of the last strategy to say that we wanted to do a double-digit growth. We wanted to move our EBITDA margins from a 16% to a 22 to 25%. We wanted to get the ROCE, which was at 8%, to say that we wanted to move it to the 20s. That's what we said that we will do in the last 3 years when we announced the strategy. And now we are looking at the next phase. I want to take a little step back and see what is the environment our customers are going to be operating in the coming years, right? And in that environment, what do we need to do? We will continue to build our product to platform shift capabilities as we build that. We will stitch all the platforms to become a fabric, and I'll explain that a little bit more. And doing this, we want to increase our relevance quotient with our customers. Again, typically this relevance quotient is something that we use internally to see how relevant am I to my customer. Am I only relevant to the head of network who wants to buy something from us, or am I relevant to a C-suite who is driving transformation in the company? And we want to be able to increase our relevance quotient with our customers. And by doing these, we want to be able to achieve an accelerated growth. Now, what is the environment our customers are operating in? We are saying that the customers are moving into an era which we are calling as a hyper-connected ecosystem. They are going to be operating this hyper-connected ecosystem era. Now, connected ecosystems are something that we are all aware of. So if you look at an airline company was always connected through the agents. They had holiday bookings for hotels and so on, and they had a network of other businesses that they were connected to in order to give that experience to their customers. Some of them even had business dealings with car rental companies, for example. So the businesses always were connected in some form or shape. If you look at insurance companies, similarly, they had connections with agents, they had car repair shops and dealers whom they were connected with. So the ecosystems that the businesses are operating in was always an ecosystem which was connected. Now what is hyper about it is the point that we want to talk about. The hyper-connected ecosystem that the businesses are really going at great pace, whether they like it or not, they're going to be in that space, is going to have 4 characteristics. The first one is everything is going to be real-time. Real-time connectedness is going to be crucial. The second is anywhere on, always on, and that's going to be crucial. The third is they have to be seamlessly collaborating, not just amongst themselves, not just amongst the people and their partners, but they have to collaborate with things out there. So seamless collaboration across all of that ecosystem, and all of them happening real time is the point. And finally, it will be intelligent and always learning. That's the environment that our customers are going into. And to illustrate this point, I want to talk about an example which I will briefly come to. But in this environment, what are the things that are going to be important for them to consider? We think that they are going to be still strongly thinking about growth, but growth in a very different context. How do I make that ecosystem work and connect, and what kind of new business models can I come up with? And that business model driving the growth will be the mantra. As opposed to previously, how do I expand regions, how do I expand this? This will be a business model driven growth. They will have to deliver a lot more superior experiences to the customers and the consumers. They have to innovate a lot more on products, innovate a lot more on services. Productivity and efficiency will be crucial, which always is. The agility of doing this business, because everything is happening in the real time, the speed is of the essence, business agility is going to be crucial. And finally, in this fast-moving environment, managing risk is going to be complex as well. And they have to be able to manage risk. And an important element of that is the trust that they have to earn with their consumers, the digital trust, the privacy of the data, all of that is going to be crucial in this environment. So these are the 5 things that they are going to be looking at to say, how do I stay relevant to their customers? Now, how do I stay relevant to my customers so that they stay relevant to their customers is what we are looking at. And in that world, just to emphasize the point, if you look at the auto OEMs are very rapidly moving to a different world and different business model of becoming a shared mobility player. What is driving that change? It's the acronym that people talk about as CASA. And many of you already know the CASA stands for connectivity. It's vehicle to everything. The A stands for alternative drivetrains. It could be EV, it could be hydrogen, it could be all of that. That is driving. And even if it is EV, how do you make sure that I give that experience to the customer? There are anxieties of range. How do you have the EV infrastructure in place so that the EV world can go? So there's a lot of new things that are developing. Shared mobility, again, the consumer behavior has to change to accept the shared mobility. And advanced driver assist systems, the ADAS. All of these are the 4 key drivers that people are anticipating will happen. And these will happen in various degrees because it involves the ecosystem evolution. It involves the customer behavior changes. No manufacturer will know today how exactly it's going to play out. But having said that, all of them are betting on certain things that they have to do. For example, Tesla already has 6% of the revenues coming from the services business, and that contributes to nearly 65% of all their market cap. We know other players like Stellantis have announced, again, the same, they want to become 6%. They have put a big number of 20 billion by 2030 from services, right? So all of them are betting heavily on moving to that. I don't think they precisely know the evolution of how this is going to happen because a lot of things in motion. That is the world that we're going to see our customers where a lot of things are going to be in motion. They know the direction of travel, and they have to adapt and change and make sure how they can succeed. That is the world our customers are moving into. And in that world, what are we going to do? We want to become the digital fabric. We want to become the digital fabric. The reason I'm saying is we have a rich portfolio. And if you look at our connected solutions are enabling right from the car. So we look at the car as just another edge node, having edge compute capability and a connectivity capability that is mobile, all the way to the factories where we are enabling the Industry 4.0, to the branches, to the wide area network and to the cloud, and all of them being secure, all of them you have visibility and manageability end to end. So our vision of the digital fabric is, while we have the individual components, how do I stitch all of them together to bring that visibility, to bring that manageability? How do I ensure that we bring a layer of intelligence, what we're calling as DLISA, which is driven by device intelligence, location intelligence, and situational awareness, the data that we have, and how do I create that, use that data to bring more intelligence to the users of the digital fabric. And all of these will be consumed through APIs. That's our vision. As our customers are moving towards that future, we think that we will also move towards this. Now, the precise evolution of how this will happen, as our customers don't know how exactly they're going to get their 6% of services revenue, I also don't know precise route map to how this will happen, but we will make it happen in parts, and that's the vision that we are driving the company towards. Now, what are our key strengths today that will help us to get there? We continue to invest in the strong portfolio of the products. We will continue to evolve these products to platforms. And in each of these spaces, and again, you will hear more in detail from the respective heads, the connected intelligent infrastructure, we've introduced a lot of products, both on the network side, to make internet more reliable, more dependent. And in the cloud side, how do I deliver a private cloud solution that has its unique characteristics that will deliver the benefits for our customers, and to be able to manage all of it in a secure manner with network and other security portfolios. And each of these products in the last 3 years have either incrementally got better, or we have launched completely new products to radically overhaul some of these things. And similarly, on the connected solutions, you will hear about the Move and the IoT solutions that we have. And on the connected experiences, of course, both the collaboration side as well as on the connected interaction platform or connected platforms for our customers, with the launch of Digo, Jamvi. So a lot of product investments are happening. We will continue to invest in these products and continue to strengthen them. Our differentiation, or how we like to see ourselves, what are the modes? One is strongly on the foundation of what we have, the connectivity, which is the data network, the voice network, the messaging network that we have, which is one of the best in the world, right? So we have, like we say, the 30% of the world's internet routes are our customers. And about reach of the coverage, the global coverage that we have, what does it mean for our customers? For an enterprise customers, it means that if somebody has to connect something from here, from India to operations elsewhere, or the international customers, we are able to give a more dependable performance across the network with lesser hops and quality that they expect. Increasing customer relevance. The first thing to call out is we are a B2B specialist, right? And a B2B specialist, we know exactly what enterprises require. We deal with them as enterprises and enterprise to enterprise, understanding their needs, what kind of solutions that they require, how do you deliver those projects, the services capability that comes with that, to be able to wrap all of these around to deliver them with that, to that satisfaction. All of that is a muscle that we have built. And therefore, I'm calling this is a very unique place. There are not many players in the world who are in our space who can call themselves as a B2B specialist. We have an unparalleled breadth and depth of portfolios which we have been investing in. And what it enables us to do is now have conversations not just with one player in the company, but across many players in our customers. And as I said, brings together a lot of services and technology capabilities that we can bring to bear to our customers. We've also had excellent coverage from the analysts, so we've always had good Gartner coverage, and that we continue to remain in the top quadrant. But in the last few years, we have increased the number of coverage across all products. So there are now 20 analysts who are covering us. And in terms of our financial and cultural enablers, we are shifting ourselves from who we were to become a ComTech player. very healthy financials, which gives us the elbow room to invest. Transforming ourselves with all these capabilities, as I said, to evolve and to become a unique digital fabric. And incubating, we'll continue to incubate new solutions, and this journey has not stopped. We have to constantly look at what we need to do next, and that's the culture within the company. Now, I keep saying the ComTech player, and I just wanted to contrast this to say, there are traditional telcos. They are characterized by certain things. Largely, 90% of the revenue is coming from the B2C world. Most of the investments are focused in that, and the B2B is a nice icing on that cake. And they are characterized by probably higher EBITDA, but higher capex as well, and low ROCE. On the other end of the extreme, you see the system integrators and others, maybe SaaS providers. They are characterized by, of course, they are enterprise focused, more custom solutions, and they have very high ROCE. Now, how do we characterize ourselves is somewhere as a ComTech which sits nicely between. So the first metric to look at is if this is a single digit ROCE and this is a high 30s ROCE, we are in the high 20s ROCE. So that's where we are. But everything else in terms of how we do, we are not a services player, but we are delivering platforms and solutions with a wrapper of services on top of it. We have to still invest in our products, and product investments and building product capability is what we do. So the characteristics of these two are very different. And we are, to some extent, already there, and our journey future will strongly position in that space. And that's what we're saying, our evolution into a digital fabric capability as we do, and combining with the modes that we already have and strengthening those modes will position us very strongly to become the ComTech player. Now, what does it all mean, and where does it take us? Firstly, from our positioning standpoint, we want to become the digital fabric for our enterprises who will need to succeed, and will help them to succeed in the hyper-connected ecosystem. So that's what we are setting ourselves as a mission. And by doing that, our relevance to the customers are going to increase, and that will help us to achieve our ambition, which we are setting ourselves, that we will double our data revenues in 4 years' time. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Lakshmi. So Lakshmi has actually set out the ambition for us, as you would have heard, which is delivering on a 2x growth over the next 4 years. And that is going to happen at the back of our expanded portfolio. That's going to happen at the back of our ability to become more relevant to our customers. What I thought I'd do is to take you through how we are going to do this. So what is our GTM strategy? How we are going to engage our customers, and how we are leveraging this expanded portfolio to expand and grow our market to deliver that 2x growth. So this is really a conversation that we keep having with our customers. And based on our conversations that we have with our customers, and not just our customers, but also research that we keep reading from various industry analysts, there are three major themes that are emerging for the coming year for the priorities that the CEOs are going to play out on. And if you look at these three themes, which are the themes which are in green, it comes as no surprise that given the current macros, the three themes that are really focused on, and two of them are around managing cost and then delivering on and enhancing productivity and efficiency. So these two themes are themes that I think will become more predominant in FY23 and FY24, FY24 and FY25. Sustainability, as you can see, is also emerging as an important theme. And for us as Tata Communications and in our engagements with our customers, we have been seeing this theme play out, and it is becoming an important decision influencer in the decisions that many of our customers make globally as well. Now, if you were to think about those themes, and this is something that we've been looking at, given the macros and given these priorities, how is it that our portfolio is playing into these themes really. And really what we see is there are three major areas that are going to become important. And our portfolios and our priorities from a customer perspective actually blend into each other. So if you were to take the first one, which is around cost transformation, and I'll play out all three of them in the interest of time, which is cost transformation, productivity, as well as sustainability. But if you were to think about these three themes and the work that I'm going to just talk about, this makes us a very important and relevant player in the context of our customers' journey. And though the macros of cost and efficiency drive, normally give you a little bit of nervousness, for us, we actually see this becoming a tailwind for our engagement with our customers, because our portfolio is positioned very well to help the customers in these major three themes. So I'll talk about each one of them in a minute and what we are doing. So the first one is really around, cost-led transformation. And on this area, we have actually delivered some excellent results. I've called out a couple of logos that we've been working with. And really over here, it is more about modernizing the network infrastructure, delivering a more cloud-first, internet-first, next-generation network for our customers. One of the large global banks that we have been working with in the last 1 year is really helping them migrate and modernize their underlying network infrastructure. And this is across 55 countries globally. It is positioning our next-gen ISO platform and committing back to them that we will have a 30% cost takeout for their entire network as well. The other area that we are focused on, is really around productivity and efficiency. And this is an area that I think is also more relevant when you think about the future of work and how organizations are going to evolve from a future of work perspective. For us, as an example, we are working with one of the largest and the most respected airlines in the world, and we are really helping them focus on an end-to-end transformation around their collaboration technology estate. And in doing so, what we are aiming to achieve with them and for them is really a reduction of 20% in their TCO, as well as a 20% increase in their employee productivity. And sustainability, Lakshmi already spoke about that. I think the most fitting example is the work that we are doing with Formula One and Formula E, and really using our media cloud and edge-powered solution, creating a remote broadcast model for them, which is helping them reduce, they've had, at least Formula One, whom we have been a partner with for a long time, has actually delivered a 34% reduction in their freight, which is creating a significant amount of sustainability benefits for Formula One. Our expanded portfolio also is actually leading us to create a more wider addressable universe. And it's helping us in three real ways. The first is around new customer segments. The second is around new buying centers. And the third is around new areas of participation. And I'll talk about each of them in a minute. So one, around new customer segments. So on new customer segments, as many of you all have been involved and have been working with and seeing us over the last many years, our focus and our sweetest spot has been working with large global MNCs. And that's an area that we've been able to create the greatest amount of momentum for ourselves. But given our expanding portfolio, we are now able to serve even enterprises who have got deep capillary in-region or in-country or home networks, if you will. And that has given us a great opportunity to participate in an area or a set of enterprises that we couldn't do earlier. One of the examples is really a large ASEAN food delivery and ride-hailing app, and we were able to work with them when they were looking to modernize their infrastructure to take Indonesia as one country, and we were able to modernize that entire infrastructure for them. 4 years, 5 years back, we were not able to do this for them in such a targeted way in one single geography. So that's at the back of our expanded portfolio, how we've been able to address really new customer segments. Also, what's also happening is at the back of our customer and our expanded portfolio, we are also able to address new age digital natives. And I'll talk about an example a little later, but that's all giving you a sense of how we are able to address new customer segments, because our expanded portfolio allows us to participate in a more wholesome manner with that market and that segment universes. The second is around new buying centers. Lakshmi spoke about the fact that our portfolio is allowing us to talk into not just the CIO organization, but we are going beyond the CIO organization, because much of our newer portfolios don't necessarily talk only into the technology and the CIO related organization, but talk into the marketing organization, talk into the innovation organization, talk into the operations organization. And that has given us the opportunity to participate in many more buying centers in the organization. For example, we are working with one of the leading auto players in India, who has been a long-standing customer to us, and whom we had delivered largely a network and a connectivity solution for, and we are now speaking and delivering for them a stronger customer experience solution as well. And bulk of that conversation is not happening with the CIO and the technology team, but with the marketing and customer experience team. And so that is new wallet shares that we are getting exposed to in our same customers. And lastly is around new areas of participation really. And this is linked to our growing services capability. And this services capability is actually adjacent to our product and our portfolio capability. And at the back of those service capabilities, we are increasing our scope of engagement with our customers. We are able to participate in a much broader way in our customers' journey. So for example, in areas around assessment, in cloud migration and transformation, those are areas that earlier we were not able to participate. Now we have started to gain that muscle and participate a lot more, and that's opening up new areas that was not available to us earlier. Given our relevance to our customers and given these priorities that I spoke about earlier, I think it's giving us great amount of confidence that we are well positioned to grow and scale. And let's see how that is actually happening, and that brings me to how we are organized from a market perspective. So we really have 3 pillars on which we are building our GTM, or we are building our go-to-market strategy. And the first one, as you can see over here, is really around focusing on growing our wallet with our existing customers. And within that, it's a 2-pronged approach really. So one is our top accounts, that is accounts where we have a larger share of mind, we have a larger share of wallet, and really it is about penetrating deeper in these accounts. And here, growth is largely going to come by innovation-led transformation. And that opportunity to engage the customer more meaningfully and more wholesomely at the back of our expanded portfolio will give us a much larger role to play with these customers, or our top customers. The second is around our growth accounts. And these are accounts where, obviously we have a higher headroom for market share growth. And really here we are more focused to benefit from our deep account management that I'll speak about in a minute, but through our deep account management, leveraging the power of our expanded portfolio and capturing many more buying centers. So the opportunity for our growth accounts, because of our intimacy with our customers, because of the expanded portfolio, exposure to new buying centers, is giving us a lot more velocity with these customers. The second is really around our focus on our international markets. And really, I see our international markets as an opportunity where we have the highest headroom for our growth. And it continues to be an area of investment and focus for us. I must also admit our current market share, if anything, is very low. And I think we can command much more than where we are in our relative share or our relative position in most of our international markets. And for that, we have an aggressive growth strategy. We have invested over the last 12, 18 months in creating more feet on street on customer-facing roles. And the strategy is really going to be led by customer acquisition. So it's really acquisition of new customers, and the headroom that we have is something that we think will give us the greatest results in our international markets. We are also leveraging on alliances. So we are working with a set of OEMs and SI partners, which will help us to broaden and deepen our go-to-market strategy and expose us to relationships through these alliance partners as well. And the third is really around our India market position. And we have a leadership position in the enterprise data business in India. We continue to strengthen that, and we continue to invest in that. And really over here, our focus is both, like with our existing accounts, in our top accounts in India, where we have large multi-year relationships and the intimacy with the customers is strong. The intent over here is to focus on driving much more multi-product engagement, driving a more vertical and a vertical use case-led approach so that we can start differentiating and bringing many more use cases to life beyond just selling point products and point services with these customers. So our deepen the wallet share approach with these top customers is going to be driven by that approach. We are also wanting to scale some of the emerging enterprises that we are working with as a part of our overall segmentation of focus of choice of accounts that we work. And we have invested in and creating and nurturing a low-touch phygital model. That model has started to crank up, and we think that there is more to be had through that wallet and through that approach really. Our expanded portfolio, like I said earlier, is also exposing us to new customer segments. So in India, we are now looking at how we can start working with many companies who are in the D2C journey. Many large enterprises who had traditional brick and mortar engagement models have started to invest in D2C as well. And that we see is a new customer segment, and that's a segment that we think we can play strongly into, and that's an area that we are trying to build our muscle and build our capability in as well. It's important to also share, because this GTM strategy is not a strategy that we are constructing today and we will start working on as we move forward. This is a strategy in motion. So it's important for us to also share with you how are these markers doing for us and how are we performing against each of these markers. And I've tried to call out a little bit of a granular view on how we are doing. So on our wallet share, our large deals, that is deals which are over $1 million, is up actually 80% and 84% on a 2-year basis. Our product penetration ratio, which is the number of products and the number of conversations that we can have with our existing customers, is up 10% in the last 2 years in our top 300 accounts. If you look at our international markets, which is really an acquisition-led strategy, we have over a 50% growth in the number of new logos that we've signed. Many of these logos have much more headroom to grow. Now that the engagement is set and the entry has been made, that will give us a long way and much more opportunity to engage and mine these customers in the future as well. And importantly, I think our digital platforms and services, and this is where a large part of our muscle, our energy and investments have really gone. Our DPS funnel has grown by over 50% in the last 2 years. So this is to give you a little bit of a color to how the business is shaping and where the success is really coming from. And in India, where we've been very focused on our top accounts, where we've had deep relationships, multi-year relationships, over 60% of our revenues come from our top 100 accounts in India. And from a phygital model and emerging business, nearly 70% of all the business that we do with these enterprise or these emerging enterprises are actually going through on a low-touch digital, a low-touch digital platform, if you will. And that's how we are engaging our customers in India and building that scale for them. I think Lakshmi spoke about we are a B2B specialist. Now, what does a B2B specialist mean? This is something that comes to us naturally. This is what we do at our very core, which is really helping us focus on our customer relationships. So our GTM approach and strategy is really pivoted on driving customer intimacy, right? And in doing that, and that customer intimacy is being built by deep account management across the life cycle of our engagement with our customers. And there are 3 key areas on which we engage our customers. One is around the listening posts that we have with our customers. And we have, when I say listening posts, these are opportunities for us to engage and hear from our customers as to, what are their priority areas, how are we doing with them, what are the areas they want us to improve, what are their future roadmaps, etc. So it gives us a good listening post platform where we can capture these inputs, feed it back into our teams to help either improve our own portfolio proposition or improve our service delivery or our capability of delivery back to our customers. The second is where we actually, to my mind, we have an industry-leading structure around our customer success teams. And really these customer success teams are really enabling a broader and deeper engagement with our customers. And this is really helping us becoming a partner of choice in our engagement with our customers. And this is the journey, but I think we have the structure around our customer and the wrap around our customers quite well laid out, and customers are seeing much more appreciation in the way we engage them versus with some of the other players and how they are engaging. And finally, this is a journey. And so for us, it's also about competency build and bringing a lot more arbitrage of knowledge engaging and changing the engagement model with our customers. So developing a lot more industry, vertical view of how we want to engage our customers, technology leadership and innovation and co-innovation with our customers are all areas that we want to invest in. I spoke about the fact that we've already invested in customer-facing teams over the last 18, 24 months, and we are starting to see early results of that. Our funnel ad for the last 18, 24 months is up 30%. So, as we've been adding the teams and the teams are getting productive, we are starting to see the engagement and the funnel starting to also grow for our markets in which we have added our teams. I wanted to, summarize all this with a bit of a case study on how our engagement has evolved with our customers. And this is a good way to, describe how our engagement is growing. So I've taken it's an ongoing engagement. It's an engagement with a large global auto manufacturer. And I've tried to indicate all of the points what I spoke about earlier, which is touching the new buying centers, looking at our expanded portfolio and how we are delivering against on each of them, right? And so over the years, we have been and we continue to build a much stronger relationship with the customer across the business units. And it's important to also understand that the customer themselves are undergoing a transformation. And the customers has a very high growth ambition and is operating in an environment that is fairly challenging as well for them as from their customers or their market in which they operate. So with this backdrop, we have been able to, at the back of our deep account management, multiple touch points that we've been able to create, we have been able to influence. First, we've actually participated, influenced and added value across all of the areas that you see over here. So as you can see, we have been able to touch the product itself, that is the car in this case, and we are helping them to create and enabling a connected car experience for them. For their end customers, which they are very passionate about their customer experience, we've been able to deliver what they call as modern luxury experience for their end customers. Even going into their factory and their manufacturing and industrial operations, we are trying to see how we can enable a smart factory engagement with them. And bringing it all together is the digital enterprise, if you will, that they are focused on. And we are trying to create an agile, cloud-first expressway of the infrastructure for them on which they can build a lot of other capabilities on top. And really, this has effectively helped them to deliver a modern luxury smart car. And our engagement with them is driving that outcome. This is really a sample of our long-term engagement on how we want to build our relationships with our our customers. We see this to be a very value-driven approach, which will add value to our customers and add value to ourselves as well. On brand and reputation, I'm not going to touch too much in the interest of time, but safe to say that creating awareness and driving more credibility for us is an ongoing journey. We continue to invest in it. We are seeing good results around it. We have made significant progress. We are getting recognition not just from industry watchers and industry analysts, but even global media houses and industry bodies are recognizing us. All of this actually contributes very positively to our customer engagement. All of this adds a lot more credibility and therefore customer trust in us as well. Likewise, we are also using multiple platforms to showcase our strengths. I've called out 3 platforms over here. We've spoken about one of them, which is our Formula 1, Formula E platform, or other sporting platforms that we have. And really here the idea is to create an immersive live showcase of our portfolio. And we invite our customers and we show them the power of what we can do and the power of what we are doing for some of these media and these sporting platforms. And to my mind, in many cases, it's really the ceiling of the relationship and the ability for us to really, demonstrate to our customers what we can do with them. The other is around our customer experience center, and this is where we bring our use cases to life for our customers. And if many of you are based here in Bombay, I would invite you to come and also visit our experience center. I think you'll get a greater insight on all our use cases and the journeys that we are working with many of our customers. And lastly, we are working with a lot of industry partnerships. We've been working with CII over the last 3 years. We have created with them a center of digital transformation. It's really to help the government of India's national mission on digital India, and this is an investment we've done to create a broader awareness and driving digital awareness, leading to digital transformation for enterprises in India. I want to leave you with finally what, Lakshmi spoke about, that, we will deliver a 2x growth in the next 4 years. I wanted to leave you with what is the color of that growth, and, what will our success look like in the next 4 years. So really, this is where we are today across the parameters that I spoke about. Whether it is our India market position, I think we will continue to be, I know we will continue to be leaders in the India market. In our international market, where we are relatively a peripheral player today, we will become a very strong challenger in all the markets of interest for us in our international markets. Our $1 million customers, that is customers where we have our growing and large relationships, will contribute over 50% of our revenues will come from these customers. This is a part of our deeper engagement with our customers. And finally, our digital portfolio, which is our digital platforms and services portfolio, will contribute more than 50% of our total revenues that we have as a part of our overall pie of services. So in summary, I think I am very, very confident. I think we have the market opportunity. We have the market permission, we have the right strategy, we have the right talent, we have a relevant portfolio to deliver on the ambition of 2x for the next 4 years. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry. May I invite Kabir?
Thank you, Sumit. Such a pleasure to see all of you. I hope I get to meet most of you after the event is over and exchange more thoughts and notes. In the next 10-15 minutes, I intend to take you through the key tenets of the finance strategy. Nothing has changed. This is what you saw 2 years ago, and sometimes the bedrock of any strategy should remain unchanged, and for me that is the finance strategy. We have made tremendous progress in each of the 3 pillars of the finance strategy. We have made conscious effort in weeding out all legacy issues and becoming a truly compliant organization. It's probably evident when you actually read our notes, so I don't intend going into that, just leave that comfort with you. I intend to talk about the other 2 pillars, the fit to compete and fit to grow. You saw the metrics that Lakshmi put up earlier. Probably these metrics by heart than I do. Quite often when I meet you one-on-one, you probably correct me with the better reflection of the numbers that you know about the company than I personally do. But what I want to do is talk about what and how did we drive this outcome, so that it gives you the comfort that this is sustainable, and then we will keep that going forward. In no particular order, although you see some pointers there at the end of the slide, the most important thing in this organization was to move away from not only looking at deal profitability, but also going to deal cash flow, and every employee eyeing returns and breathing the language of ROCE, so that we are able to consistently deliver return to all our stakeholders, not just our customers, but also to our investors as well. Optimizing costs, going with a war on waste. I've said this to you multiple times, and I will repeat again. Any cost that does not add value to my customer has no business to be in my P&L. So we will ruthlessly eliminate all such costs away from P&L and continue to optimize our P&L. We've made quite a bit of progress in tax efficiency, whether it is restructuring of our supply chain operations and legal entity structure, or investing in international markets, getting them to be profitable so we can utilize the NOLs there, and an array of things to improve our effective tax rate. Taking the deal cash flow through into the entire company and simplifying processes, whether it is receivables, whether it is our own internal delegation of power authorities that we actually give to people to bring in agility and speed in the organization, which then gets reflected in the cash conversion cycle that we see. Therefore, we see the improvement reflected automatically in whether it is free cash flow or whether it is debt to EBITDA or whether it is ROCE, because it has just an infectious effect in all the health parameters that we can talk about. And having a very robust CapEx framework. We have to invest, we have to continuously invest. But if we need to invest and need to fuel that investment, we also need to infuse in the organization as much as we bring in agility and speed. We also want to infuse discipline. We also want to give a robust framework and allow for freedom within the framework. So it's not the same rules that govern every piece of investment. Customer success based CapEx, no limit. Go get revenue, and if you're able to demonstrate value to our customers, we will invest provided it meets the NPV IRR thresholds. Maintenance CapEx will be ruthlessly looked at and will operate with a cap. And strategic CapEx is where we then take management calls and look at the future, and continue to invest. So that's one, great thing that we have now embedded in the last 2 years, in the company. Talking about the fit to grow model. It all starts with delivering, profitable growth, taking the proceeds of that profitable growth and reinvesting back into the business, getting capabilities organically or inorganically, which goes and adds and fixes go-to-market gaps, portfolio gaps, which in turn drive, growth and get into that virtuous circle of growth. What have we delivered so far in this? If you look at it, we have invested in infrastructure and innovation in our people capabilities. The number of people that we have added, in the last 2 years is visible. Over, 1,000 FTEs is what we have added in Tata Com. And all of that is coming in from us taking the profitable growth and reinvesting in people capabilities. We also went on, to fund acquisitions, 2 of them. And might I say we have a good active funnel as well. But what is delightful for me is that we have closed the Switch acquisition all from internal accruals. So basically working capital funded, and the money that was otherwise locked in a dead way has been released to go and acquire a revenue generating asset, which is extremely strategically important for us. And I want to touch upon, as we rev up this M&A engine, within Tata Com, I want to give you comfort on what are our operating principles with which we are looking at, acquisitions going forward. It will be meticulous. We do believe we have a huge responsibility. It needs to have a strategic fit, and it needs to create value for all of us. And that will be our guiding principles. And with that, let me go to the next slide and give you elaborate as to how the Switch acquisition makes sense for us and why did we do this. And if we just juxtapose those 3 operating principles and how does it work for the media business. One of our star businesses is the media business. We are proud of it. It does wonders. I mean, you see how many references Lakshmi and Sumit made, of our partnership with Formula 1 and Formula E. So I think we have got a great capability, in the media business. We have about 25% market share. We've been growing at, 33% CAGR. So it's a great business. But we've largely been a global to global player, global sports to global audience. What Switch gave us, great piece of asset, predominantly present in the US, gave us, and they were one of the market leaders, in the US, sports regional to regional, space, both on transmission and also on production. So for us, it makes meaningful strategic sense because we are now able to offer more to our customers. The PPR, the product penetration ratio that Sumit alluded to, is something which is quite visible here, because now there are more products that the customer can get from me as Tata Com. Strategically fits, great asset that came at a great value, so creates enormous amount of value creation for our shareholders. And that will be our guiding principle when we rev up our M&A engine as well. Improving balance sheet is not an end in itself. Had we not done that, I don't think we would have had the license to start dreaming about a 2x growth. So doing that was extremely important for us. And having done that, there is no room for complacency. Maintaining that momentum is as difficult and as hard and as important as delivering the improvement that we have done in the last 2.5 years. So we will continue to have the focus on a healthy balance sheet so we can fuel the growth momentum of the company. It also is very important because I want to make right investments in order to improve the relevancy quotient, with my customers. What does that do? We will take this money, invest in GTM. A lot of our headcount increase that we have done has been in feet on street, more in the international markets, clearly aligned with the priorities that Sumit talked about. In the product areas as well, in the digital platforms and services portfolio. We will continue to strengthen our portfolio and drive scale, both organically and inorganically. And that is the bedrock for us to deliver a 2x growth in 4 years. And that's what we want to see our data business propelled to a different growth trajectory than what we have been used in the past, in the recent past, to what we want to take it to the next 4 years. And now comes to my final slide. While we achieve the 2x, I also want all of us to remember the markers, the ambitions that we have that will guide us to this 2x. We will continue to maintain our 23 to 25 long-term ambition. Now, for a year or a quarter, if I slip behind 23, and this year, due to switch, we will go below 23. We are not really fussed about that, because as long as I have the principles of being meticulous, driving a strategic fit, and creating long-term value for my shareholders, I'm not really fussed about or worried about 1 quarter or 1 year, here and there. But we are committed to the 23 to 25% EBITDA range. We are committed to a debt of 2x. Now we are at 1.3x as we speak today. So we've done very well in our cash flow generation, and we have, of course, gone ahead and eliminated, debt. It's because the external environment was such that we had supply chain issues, and whatever orders we placed were not delivered on time, so we didn't pay for it. So I was sitting with cash, and that cash went in paying down debt. But our ambition is to be, under 2x. Actually, with our improving profitability and improving, balance sheet, we can even go up to 2.5 to 3x without breaking our covenants and, in any way compromising our credit rating. We will continue to increase, our capex, and 300 million is the range. As I said, for customer success-based capex, there is no limit. There is a guidance. but there is no limit because each of them generate NPV and IRR, and the more I do, the better, it is. And I don't want to take my eye off ROCE. We will continue to deliver greater than 25%, return on capital, for Tata Communications. I want us to pause and reflect about the shape of the financials and the shape of the P&L and balance sheet that this company, because when you look from quarter to quarter, we sometimes can do disservice and not see the shift that this company has been, making. And draw this from 3 years to now to 4 years, from now. Yes, we are proud of our telecom heritage. But what we want to be is a Comtech player. And that Comtech player is not empty words. That is getting reflected not only in our financial modeling, it is reflected in our hiring, it is reflected in our innovation, it is reflected in our go-to-market. You can find that infectious energy cutting through the entire organization, and therefore, even the financial metrics should speak of a Comtech player. With that, let me hand over to Genius and Srini.
Yeah, hi. So you want to start? Yeah. Okay, in continuation of what Kabir spoke, what we're going to do is to talk to you about connected infrastructure. So as the previous speaker set the context, there's a lot of change that is coming through. We want to be a Comtech player. We want to look at things in an integrated fashion. And the portfolio that we're going to present is going to talk about how connected infrastructure plays in an integrated fashion to deliver a differential value to our customers. So over to you, Janice.
So, can you hear me? All right. So, connected infrastructure actually plays a significant part in our digital portfolio. And our digital portfolio revenue in FY23 is about 4,539 crores. Connected infrastructure includes services like next-gen connectivity, cloud hosting security, and it's at 1,961 crores in FY23. But connected infrastructure has been growing at a 19.2% CAGR between FY20 to FY23. So you heard about the 5 business objectives or business drivers that most is common across most enterprises. The first one being the borderless growth, which is either capturing customers' ambitions to grow across geographies or breaking boundaries to create new business models, or basically the delivery and also the delivery of superior customer experience and also bringing product innovation much quicker to the market. And the continuous drive to improve on productivity and also efficiency, either through business process re-engineering or automation AI. And of course, business agility. It is important for us to have the ability to adjust quickly to dynamic market requirements, to align resources to business needs, and also align cost to revenue. And of course, managing risk, whether it's cyber risk or other enterprise risk factors, caused by external factors.
Working. Go ahead and speak, Denise. Go ahead and speak. Go ahead and speak, I said, let's. Yeah, here you go.
All right.
It is switched on, right? It is switched on.
Huh? It's on? Okay, great. So it is very difficult for any enterprise to achieve all these business objectives if they only have a traditional network architecture setup. And that is why enterprise has to go through digital transformation and network transformation. And as part of network transformation, they will have to reimagine and improve their networks. They will have to redesign their security posture, rethink about their multi-cloud connectivity solution, and revisit how they can deliver superior user experience under this new transformed network. So what is the connected infrastructure, new connected infrastructure network that can actually deliver the business objectives? So the new connected infrastructure, first of all, it has to be future ready. So it has to be able to onboard new technologies. They need to be able to capitalize new technologies' benefits quickly, thus bringing business agility. It has to be performant. It has to be consistent, reliable, so that you can deliver superior customer experience. And also it has to be programmable, so that on demand, allowing for on-demand changes that actually can be made according to dynamic business requirements. And of course, security has to be embedded in the entire design and not as an afterthought. So how should enterprise go about building this connected infrastructure? I'll actually hand it over to Srini to talk to you about this.
So thanks, Genius. So if you can move to the next slide, please. If you look at the connected infrastructure stack that we're talking about, there are multiple disparate components that are at play for an enterprise. There are 10 puzzle pieces here, and enterprises at different stages of evolution have to deal with these, in different forms, right? If you were to take the example of a user in an office wanting to access an application of his company, he has to go through multiple blocks, and that has to happen seamlessly. He has to go through the LAN infrastructure that can be both wired or wireless LAN. He has to go through the SD-WAN and security infrastructure. That's another block that he needs to traverse. Then he has to go through the connectivity that can be either private or public connectivity, or there can be purely internet connectivity. From there, he has to go and access the cloud applications for which the multi-cloud infrastructure comes into play. And if you look at the whole thing, security has to be weaved in because you want the end-to-end journey for the customer to be secure. If you look at any enterprise infrastructure, there are 5 to probably 10 disparate solutions that are at play in an enterprise estate at this point in time. Depending on what stage, whether they've acquired companies, the complexity varies. But all of them have the same context and color when you go and talk to them about connected infrastructure. Now, all of this, when they're independent solutions, you need the policy, the configuration, and all of that to be done independently, which makes it really a difficult task for the enterprise, because they have to get the right trained people, they have to get the right skills and the partners to do it. And what really happens is they don't get an end-to-end visibility and view of the infrastructure, and thereby performance becomes a challenge, right? We spoke about in the earlier slide, we need to have a performant network that's future ready and etc. And this really becomes a stumbling block in digital transformation and performance, right? So that is a challenge that we want to address with our connected infrastructure portfolio. So what am I talking about here? We want to simplify this problem for enterprises. We want to offer them a comprehensive portfolio that allows them the ability to at different points in their journey pick and choose from this portfolio of services that we have for them. Some companies may be doing security transformation. We are able to play into that conversation. Some companies may be doing a LAN transformation. We can play into that conversation. Some companies may be struggling to improve performance on the cloud conversation. We can do that. Overall, we bring it all together on our TCX portal, where policy management, the disparate solutions, and the integration challenges that we have are well addressed on TCX. And TCX offers them an ability to give them end-to-end visibility of the entire life cycle of this connected infrastructure. Like for example, the customer can see his order, he can see his inventory, he can see the changes that happen on that infrastructure, and from there he can go and see the performance, the dashboards, and then the uptime, availability, analytics, the reporting. So it's an entire life cycle that we offer to a customer in the simplified portfolio.
So, what is our right to play? First of all, what is our right to play in this connected infrastructure space? Of course, as enterprises are shifting their traffic onto internet and cloud, they need a very dependable internet connectivity to deliver the mission-critical business traffic. Our ISO Internet WAN platform is one of the world's most comprehensive, predictable, dependable internet connectivity platform that is built and designed for business. That actually gives us our right to play. And of course, our coverage in our ability to offer connected infrastructure solutions in 160 countries that gives the customer the reach for the business. And our ISO Multi-Cloud Connect product is going to be able to solve a lot of multi-cloud connectivity requirements. And of course, the most important thing is our technology expertise that we have, combined with a lot of virtual simulation lab that, platform that you've seen in some of the other slides that Sumi talked about, allow us to actually test our hypothesis, our concepts before we bring it to the market and work join hand-in-hand co-innovate together with the customers. And finally, we are accelerating our investment in connected infrastructure based on a multi-year roadmap to ensure that our connected infrastructure solutions is future ready.
Okay, thanks, Genius. So what's our right to win? We take single point ownership for this entire solution for our customers, end-to-end, delivering value. When a customer looks at the challenges in a connected infrastructure space, one of the key challenges is trained people who have the ability to design and implement the solution, manage it end-to-end. That is a challenge that we address well. We can engage regionally with customers and deliver globally because we have teams that are distributed across the globe. One of the models that we have perfected is that we are able to deliver first time right our solutions to our customers, right? In the SD-WAN space, we have 99.8% first time right, delivery, for the customer, right? That is something that we focus on. And when it comes to, the end-to-end compliance of the solution, are we, doing it right for the customer? We have the ability to do that for them. And TCX, which is our customer portal, is the one-stop, or the one window in which they can get all the information about the services that we provide to them. They don't need to look anywhere else. And in the subsequent case study that comes up, I'll talk about how we are delivering this and using all of these capabilities, our skills and the people that we have and the technology and the platform and the integrated play that we have created to deliver, a complete solution for our customer, right? And how this portfolio applies. Okay, this is, a medical technology firm that's global. Has over 18,000 plus people working out of 100 locations. And as a medical technology firm, they have multiple information systems and IT infrastructure. They have intellectual property which they need to protect. They have manufacturing locations across the globe that they need to connect. And of course, they have a distributed workforce that needs to connect effectively. So when we engaged with the customer, the set of challenges that they came to us with is that we have an existing network that doesn't perform, the right kind of, function that we want the network to perform, which is we're not able to do things in an agile fashion. The quality of the network is a problem. Cybersecurity is an issue. We want to do more things. It doesn't work well for voice and video. We want an agile partner who will listen to us and do things, a lot more effectively. These were some of the challenges. And they had a roadmap to be played out, for their infrastructure. And that was a 3 to 5 year roadmap that they had. And, cybersecurity was one of the key things that they called out. And they wanted us to take all of these challenges and find a solution. So we worked with the customer to create a solution that addresses, all of their requirements. So what did we do for them, right? We rolled out a global network that's a combination of both internet and private, lines for them, right? we rolled out an SD-WAN solution, right, that connects their entire office infrastructure. And as one can imagine, this is a large customer with a global footprint, 100 locations. So they have different types of offices. They actually have 6 types of offices, beginning from a small office to a large office, to their headquarters, to the manufacturing firms, to their R&D centers. Each one needed a different kind of solution because that's the template that they wanted to create for scale. And each one had to be highly secure, and each one had, unlike a normal company, the reason why I took this as an example is, unlike a normal company, they were regional R&D teams, which means they were creating intellectual property in different places, and that needed to be protected. And as one would have it, they wanted this intellectual property to be, archived, vaulted in central locations at different points in time. So the network had to really perform, at its peak when they're doing that, and still not impact business users, right? That became a real, big requirement for them. And they also wanted, one of the key things that they had as a problem in the earlier setup is that they had no proper solution for remote workers to connect to them, right? VPN, they called out as a big risk because, they were not able to give a proper solution. And we started implementing this, for them just before COVID. So they reaped the benefits of the new solution that, we provided because we could help them connect the remote, workforce very effectively. So from SD-WAN, they also wanted, one more, capability out of that, which is, I want to put my applications on the public cloud. Some of the core applications need to go there. Can you help me, ensure that your SD-WAN extends to the cloud and give me the cloud connectivity that I'm looking for and the scalability that I'm looking for? We did that, for the customer. They have cloud firewalls. They have policy-based access to the various applications. They're doing periodically application data vaulting, which our network supports because it has characteristics to adaptively traffic shape. So those are capabilities that we've been able to do, including extending the connectivity to the cloud. So this is essentially a stack where we have touched all areas of connected infrastructure, as one could see, beginning from the SD-WAN to the security, posture and practices, to the hybrid, WAN capability, which is using the mix of, private and public networks, and being able to give them a secure web gateway where customers, their internal users, can browse the net, very securely, and the multi-cloud connect, giving them the ability to ship applications to the cloud if they so wish. And one of the things that we also additionally did is, because video and collaboration was an issue, we've been able to provide to this customer our collaboration portfolio of services as well, and they're a collaboration customer as well. We continue to deepen the engagement with this customer. They continue to engage us on newer topics and how they can scale their infrastructure, and we continue to grow the conversation with them, and that's what connected infrastructure allows you to do. And one of the other things that they had as a serious challenge, which TCX really helped them address, is inventory, right? What kind of infrastructure lies in which kind of location, and who's using it, and they wanted it on an API so that we are able to provide them that inventory information on an API that they can consume. And they also wanted to see all of this inventory organized by the type of sites, the utilization, and the capacity planning, so that they can plan ahead of time, because it's a large network, spanning, so many countries. They wanted to really plan ahead of time, and that's something that, the connected infrastructure allows them to do, and plus scale out on their security infrastructure. So that's the example of how we've rolled out connected infrastructure to a customer, and how that keeps drawing the customer into doing more, with Tata Communications and expanding the capability of the infrastructure.
So this is the next case study, use case. This is actually a multinational food chain, and one of the key objectives they have given is that they want to redesign the entire network architecture across all the existing and new stores. And the objective is to improve the in-store customer experience through high-speed internet and also secure Wi-Fi access. Because what customers actually have today is that every store has a completely different design, and it's provided by a different providers. It is make it, first of all, completely inconsistency in actually customer experience. Plus, it is almost impossible to actually launch targeted campaigns, to each of their stores. So they would like to actually completely revamp this architecture. So what we actually gone in actually offer to them, first of all, is a combination of ISO SD-WAN with high-speed internet and also managed Wi-Fi access and LAN solution, also enabling secure persona, traffic management capability for the customer. So what we actually gone in first of all, is standardize the solution design for each of the store and make it uniform across every stores. And with that, we can actually, using this standardized template, we can actually streamline the deployment that allows us to deploy each store in a much quicker way. So whenever they open up a new store, we can actually deploy the solutions in that store much quickly. And also, what we have actually, for them is complete our guest Wi-Fi management portal and also management platform for them, where we actually provide, secure and also easy authentications for guest Wi-Fi, and also at the same time segregating these in-store customer traffic from the food stores, food chains, internal like POS traffic or their own other internal traffic. So with this setup, the customer actually in-store experience, in-store customer experience has improved significantly, and it actually is from the customers that it actually enhanced their brand business value for them. So we did not stop there, because what we actually also did is that the platform we created is actually future ready. So we have all this guest Wi-Fi insights as well as footfall analytics, which we can provide to the customer, where they can actually build the future customer engagement or loyalty program based on this information and launch this program in the future. So we are not just addressing the problem and the requirements of today, but also enabling them, for the future new business models. So when quickly take a look at the connected infrastructure market size. So when we look at ISO Internet WAN, it's just a market of from FY24, 94 billion to about FY27, 98 billion. Although this market is actually growing at 1.4% CAGR, but as most enterprises are transforming the network from MPLS to hybrid to internet, this is a large market that we can play in. And this actually, so we actually look at this at the market absolute value rather than just the percentage growth. ISO Multi-Cloud Connect is our software-defined interconnection platform that actually provides customers with the enterprises with the capability to self-serve, to go on demand, pay as you go, to establish multi-cloud connectivity as when they need it, and also the platform provide the visibility and also analytics to allow them to simplify multi-cloud networking operations. So this is a fast-growing market at 70% CAGR between FY24 to 27. The managed Wi-Fi and LAN market that we just talked about, the use case, as we see enterprises embracing wireless-first architecture, and hence we see enterprises revamping their stores, their branches, their offices, or their factories with this wireless-first kind of architecture. This market is actually growing at 8.3% CAGR, from 11.9 billion in FY24 to 15.1 billion in FY27. And of course, the SD-WAN and also network security portfolio, with the use case that Srini talks about, is also growing at a 70% CAGR, at 9.1 billion to 14.7 billion. While you are seeing all this as individual, the addressable market, and it all basically present significant growth potential for us. But the key for us is that this integrated, portfolio that we can actually play in. As you can see in the use cases, we are delivering integrated solutions used across the stacks. And while we actually have a right to win in each one of them independently, our collective ability to offer this integrated solutions actually strengthen our right to win in this connected infrastructure space.
Okay, not only does our customers appreciate what we do for them. We present our capabilities to analysts, and the community of analysts have been kind enough to sort of appreciate a lot of the work that we've done around each one of these portfolios. If you take the network services portfolio, we've been in the leadership quadrant of Gartner Magic Quadrant for network services for 10th year in a row. And it's a significant achievement considering the fact that year on year Gartner looks for what have you done incrementally to sort of deliver value to your customers. In this report, when they rated us for the 10th time in the leadership quadrant, they looked at the new services that we created under ISO WAN. They looked at network on demand services that we are able to offer to our customers. They also looked at our ability to offer ISO multi-cloud connect, which is the ability for customers to connect to different clouds from our infrastructure, and they appreciated that, and thereby we continue to stay in that leadership quadrant. And the work that we do, the multi-year roadmap, we're confident will sort of help us stay there. In terms of the other areas of connected infrastructure, I want to talk about SD-WAN, where the analyst firms have called out that our capability are comprehensive. The TCX portal that we have, where we have the ability to do policy management and orchestration of multiple SD-WAN platforms and still give a single view to the customer, is something that's very well appreciated by the analysts. If you look at the managed security services part of the portfolio, one of the things that analysts deeply appreciate is because we run a large network, we have a lot of access to traffic, that sort of in terms of metadata of the traffic that flows through our network. And 5-6 years ago, we stood up a platform that would analyze this data and look at it real time and process it and derive insights from that data. And that, if you see that platform churns out a lot of insights, because as you can imagine, if you have to have a cyber security threat propagate, you need a network medium for it to propagate. And we sort of are able to see threats ahead of time on our network, and that we've summarized as a threat feed, then offered to our customers. So when they look at our MSS capability, managed security services capability, and our cyber security capability, one of the things besides having the relationships with the OEMs, besides having the partnerships and the ability to integrate all of this well, and the TCX portal, one of the things that they look for is what are you doing, how are you having the depth to sort of go and win that conversation with the customer and build credibility with the customer. So the work that we do around our analytics and the network information and insights that we derive and the threat feed that we provide to our customers actually helps us in improving credibility with our customers and win on the cybersecurity conversations, and that's what they've called out in some of these reports. So with that, we come to a close of the connected infrastructure presentation, and I would request Madhu to be on stage along with the team. Yeah, thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I start the presentation, I just want to take us back to what we briefly touched upon last time. We spoke about Tata Communications DIGO, which was just launched, I think, around this year. And also we showed what the Tata Communications, more at a concept stage, what that means to us. We also spoke about Move, which is my mobility IoT platform, which was in the making as the various use cases which we are building. I just took you through a story of what that Move means to each one of us in the context of an enterprise usage. I just want you to spend a day with me. Now, just to demonstrate, this is what we said in terms of Tata Communications DIGO. This is what we conceptualized, and these are the customers to whom we have been serving. This is what my Move platform itself means to us. Just about next 1 minute, we'll just spend through this video, what this means to us.
In a world fueled by seamless connectivity, technology touches every aspect of our daily lives. Let's take a glimpse into a day where possibilities unfold with each interaction. From the moment we wake up, the power of connectivity is at our fingertips. Even our vehicles are integrated, providing us with timely assistance. With just a few taps, we can find the nearest charging station and book a slot. Our journey continues with the assurance of a charged vehicle. Our devices are always in sync, seamlessly updating us with valuable insights and data. Even our entertainment needs are anticipated and effortlessly managed. Regardless of borders, we stay connected with our loved ones and trusted partners. Communication knows no boundaries, bridging distances with ease. As twilight descends upon the world, technology enhances our surroundings. Smart solutions illuminate our path, making our journey safer and more efficient. With each passing day, Tata Communications continues to empower a hyper-connected world. Tata Communications, powering hyper-connected ecosystems.
So what does this mean? We heard Lakshmi talking about 14,000 crores moving into 28,000 crores. In that FY23 14,000 crores, what this digital platforms and solutions itself means to us. This constitutes 4,539 crores. That's the value of the digital platforms what we are talking. Within that, over the next course of about 10-15 minutes, we'll talk about what these collaborations or the customer interaction platforms, what Tata Communications DIGO, and the mobility platform, which is Move, and the broader IoT itself in terms of whether it is cellular or non-cellular, how does it mean to us? That itself is growing to close to about 50% of the broader digital portfolio, what we have been talking about it. So what does this mean? When you look at this customer interaction platform, which is Tata Communications DIGO, or the experience platform, which is InstaCC, or the Global Repeat, which is our cross collaboration, stitching, orchestration layer, what we have launched within Tata Communications, that serves, you name the industry, whether it is BFSI, whether it is healthcare, whether it is automotive, logistics, or ITS, or any of the tech industries what we could think of. That's where, and what's the market, when you see this, it is just the interaction platform, which is Tata Communications DIGO itself is close to about 20 billion by FY24 and growing at 22% plus CAGR. So the point here is that when this broader collaboration, which includes interaction and the collaboration orchestration, when you look at this, this is a market where there is tons of interactions happening. There is tons of cross-channel communication that is happening. How are we able to intelligently stitch this? That's where is Tata Communications DIGO comes into that picture. That's where we also looked at, there are quite a lot of challenges which we have been seeing in terms of the calling within the enterprises, where you will see Jamway fits into the picture. When you move into that Internet of Things, which is where the communication into the things, not the human to human, human to the thing as such, which is where our non-cellular as well as the cellular part of the connectivity management itself came into the picture. The market size, which is 20 billion, which is at a non-cellular, 30 billion or 40 billion at a cellular part of it, which is where the growth, when we looked at it, it is 17% or the 19%, which is the market which we have been playing. It goes back to the context what that move itself is supposed to be moving in. So what does this mean in terms of the use cases, or in terms of the relevance, or in terms of the right to win? If I just pick on interaction as the platform, when the use cases being, irrespective of the industry what we see, what do they need? They need that omni-channel experience, which basically means that across the channels of communication, there has to be an orchestrator which talks about the ease of communication that happens. And then there has to be a contextuality built into it. There has to be a a kind of analytics which basically talks about the various communication that has been happening. So there has to be a connect between the brand engagement and the individual consumer who have been doing it, be it in a marketing context or be it in an enterprise context, which is where Tata Communications comes into the picture through this Tata Communications DIGO. One, being globally present, that becomes the biggest right to win for us. Number two, having this cross-channel communication and the ability to connect into various, the CRM platforms itself will become another huge strength for us. Then the strong enterprise presence which we have been able to drive in. When you combine these things, this becomes one of the compelling proposition where that what we launched last year and then hence the progress what we have been able to see. If I just move this conversation into a collaboration experience, as all of us know, all the enterprises have got lots of collaboration platforms, likes of your various cloud communication platforms, likes of Microsoft or Cisco's or whatever. When you look at this, one thing what they would look at it is that how do you, one, look at to the enterprise infrastructure what they have, how does that become fit into their need? How does the employee experience of those enterprises who are consuming those collaboration platforms, how is it being? How do I assess the infrastructure? How do you deliver those infrastructure? How do you define those requirements? And at the end of the day, how do you manage from starting from A end to the B end? How do you look at that? That's exactly where that my Global Repeat platform came into the picture. One, it can give a one single window for all of those various collaboration platforms, or it could also be a design agent to assess and economically how do you utilize. That's where we looked at, as you all would know, recently we launched our Jamvi platform. What is Jamvi here? Jamvi is basically a cloud calling platform. And everybody will ask, what is so different in this? What's new in this? If you see that when in any of the collaboration of enterprises platforms, what we have seen, two big problems we'll see. One problem being either the whole calling, it happens within the closed user group, number one. Number two, if they are supposed to be calling outside of their within ecosystem of collaboration, the cost of that calling would be different, which basically means that either it is not economical or there is a lack of my able to communicate either through a PSTN or a mobile connectivity outside of the collaboration app what is there, which is where JamV came into the picture, which addresses both one, economics, number two, the traceability, number three, the security with which the whole voice calling would happen, number four, within that, with a click of a button, they will be in a position to make a call, whether it is within the organization or whether it is outside of the organization. That's where the relevancy factor came into, in addition to what that we do as a Global Repeat platform. This leads me into, how does it take me into the next bucket of connecting to the things? Broadly, what are all the problems which we see? One, in any of the things for that matter, identity becomes one of the key requirements, which is identify. The second one, having a connectivity with that identification will become the next must-have things. Then finally, it comes your ability to interact. Basically, if you have to remember this IoT of Tata Communication, which is MOVE, which is private network or non-mobile network, when you combine these things, these three pillars will become one of the key things how the genre of with my customer interaction platform, which is Tata Communications DIGO, if you have to put this, one, identification, which is your eKYC, authentication, and all of them will come into that one bucket of it. Connectivity, irrespective of the technology, irrespective of the service provider, irrespective of the geography, wherever it is, and with quality of service, what you would think of, that's where my MOVE platform comes into the picture, which is where there is an insights, there is an analytics, there is an intelligence, there is a relevance to the kind of connectivity what you would do, and also it is a cost. Then finally, it comes into that, my interaction. The mode of interaction could be any of the channels what you can think of, whether it is voice, whether it is messaging, or whether it is any of the channels of communication. That's where if I had to broadly broadly define how this whole move itself works, which is what we tried to show it in that video, which is where it looks at one, cross-channel, number two, it is cross-geography, number three, it is quality of service at the time, at the location what you are looking at it, and also my ability to define and design many of the use cases which are coming out of these three broad pillars of it. Of course, all of them will come under the umbrella of the security of the whole communication that happens, which is where we would look at where have these, the whole construct what I have been talking, where is it we have deployed this? That's where my unboxing comes into the picture. I would invite my colleague Arijit to come on stage just to share his experience of how this customer has consumed these services itself actually. Thank you, Arijit.
Thank you. Thank you, Madhu, and very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What I want to share with you is a story which has a very high degree of relevance to our daily lives. And the story is about one of India's largest quick commerce aggregators with almost over $2 billion of gross merchandise value. They're present in more than 500 cities. They have more than 3 lakhs delivery partners, and they deliver more than 2.5 million deliveries a day. And all of us in our daily lives would be dealing with some of these quick commerce aggregators. And we have our joyous moments and not so joyous moments with them, right? You order, your guests are home, you order some food. After 45 minutes, you get a call saying the most important item is not available. What do? Do I cancel the order? Do I refund your money? You don't want the money to be refunded. You want that particular item, right? What if that call could have come in the first 5 minutes of your ordering? You get up on a Sunday morning, you realize there is some important grocery missing, you order that, and again the same thing happens. You make a wrong entry, the payment has happened, you want to cancel the order. But when you're calling the contact center, you have a long wait time. And by the time the order is shipped, if you could really get in touch through any channel to the aggregator so that this issue would not have happened. So we have our own issues, and I'm sure all of us in our daily lives would have encountered it. Looking at it from the quick commerce aggregators' view, they also had their own set of challenges, because what got them here, immensely successful, will not get them to the next 500 cities, will not help them get the next $2 billion of GMV, etc., right? And this is where, if you look at the ecosystem of a quick commerce aggregator, you have the key players. You have the customer, you and me. You have the merchants. You have the delivery executive. You have the contact center executive. And of course, the organization itself. So these are the ecosystem players. And like Lakshmi said, they were always connected. That's why they reached $2 billion, right? But the issue is, how do you go to the next level? Because this is becoming an increasingly competitive space. And they had their own challenges, right? When we started engaging with them and when they approached us, they had outsourced their contact center to multiple organizations, more than 30, located across 50 different geographic locations, right? The inbound calls, waiting time. So if there was an issue, the issue which I said that you only come to know after 40 minutes that something is not available, when their delivery executive used to call the contact center, they used to have waiting times more than 10 to 15 minutes just to get through to the contact center agent. Because of the outsourcing to multiple contact center organizations, there was no single view, which led to huge operational inefficiencies. The organization could not get a single view of their entire landscape. They had more than 40 applications. So for the contact center agent, when you're calling or when a delivery agent is calling, to really solve that problem, they had to go and access multiple applications, all adding to that experience of yours and mine in terms of wait time, etc., right? And of course, all this more wait times, more time to solve a problem, led to direct productivity issues of the contact center agent and also the delivery executives. The delivery executives could have delivered 10 orders a day, they were able to deliver only 5. All this leading to loss of revenue for the organization and, of course, loss of customer satisfaction. So when they approached us with this problem, what we realized was that they had a good connected ecosystem, but what was missing was the hyper-connected ecosystem among all the stakeholders. What was missing is that real-time and always-on engagement. What was missing is a true omni-channel experience of seamless collaboration between these channels and the stakeholders. What was missing is the intelligence exchange between the various channels. So our solution to them was really helping them transform their current landscape of this ecosystem, build a digital fabric for them through our platform-centric approach, and that is where we used our Tata Communications DIGO, which is our customer interaction platform, and Tata Communications InstaCC, which is our contact center platform, to help them build that digital fabric, to give them a unified, seamless, omni-channel experience across all these stakeholders. And of course, this was clubbed by our unified licensing VNO, where earlier they were making calls through the PRI lines. Today they were able to make it, and there were multiple PRI providers to them. And today they are only using our unified license, which is making their calls and the communication much more efficient. Now, once we were able to establish this, the proof of the pudding is in terms of the tangible benefits that this organization achieved. First, now that they didn't have multiple call centers and people calling from all over, they had a huge problem. Every contact center used to bill them for login hours, right? So that my agents have logged in for solving your customer problems for X number of hours. And because of the lack of unified view through multiple contact centers, there was a huge login hour discrepancy. So the bills they were getting is much higher. This unified platform of Tata Communications InstaCC helped them reduce that login hour by 10%, which is clear saving of their TCO. Time to call back, if a delivery agent from the ground is calling the contact center agent, it should, like I said, 10 to 12 minutes. That came down by 8 minutes. Clearly, which meant more improved productivity of the delivery executive. With this entire thing, they were able to optimize the number of agents by 15%. So for example, if the work was getting done by 100 agents, but because of their long hold times, their need to access multiple applications, etc., they had a 15% improvement on the number of agents who were now delivering the same performance which they were doing before. When the example I took, that you have punched in a wrong order, you want to kind of get it resolved, you call the contact center. As customers, we want it to be resolved in the first call, right? But what was happening there is that problem was more than a 10% problem. 10% of their call volumes were not getting addressed in the first call. That now has come down to 0.7%, right? The average handling time of a customer call has reduced by 30 seconds, right? All this leading to two very important parameters. One, directly impacting the bottom line of the company positively, directly impacting increased revenue for them, and most importantly, a significant improvement of the customer satisfaction. So in a nutshell, what we did was to really help deliver or take care of their business issues by helping them create a hyper-connected ecosystem through a platform approach of our digital fabric, and most importantly, making a very positive impact in the lives of yours and mine. Thank you.
Into that next use case, which basically picking up from what we spoke about, Mo, connecting various global automobile, one of the big global automobile company. That's where I would like to invite Avnish.
I'm here. Thank you. Thank you, Madhu. Good afternoon, everybody. So when Arijit tells you one story, I have to do one better. I'll tell you 3 stories, okay? The first one is down the memory lane. The second one, I would love for you to come along with me on a geographical terrain. And the third one, I'll tell you a customer story. So I don't know how many of you were there in Mumbai about 25, 30 years back. Can I see by a show of hands, if you don't mind? Very few, right? I saw Mumbai getting built, the roads getting built. And I used to drive a pretty normal car. I still drive a very normal car, by the way. And you know what happened? I used to go from Churchgate to Powai, and the ride was something like this. Thankfully, I upgraded a car, and the ride became something like this. You know what this was? The suspension of the car was so good that I had a very smooth ride when everything below the car was going haywire. And that was luxury. That was physical luxury, right? What we try to do at Move today is kind of the digital equivalent of these shock absorbers. We keep the cars connected across the world, irrespective of how the connection and how the networks behave underneath. And that's one of the core value propositions. You know, all of you, I'm sure, drive great cars. Why is this connectivity so important, right? Let's ask that question. When you and I go and buy a new car, what are we looking for? Of course, you know, we look for physical comfort, which has continued through the evolution of mankind. We look for engineering excellence. We look for great sound box infotainment. We look for the ability of the OEM to continue to stream better features. You know, feature on demand is a great thing, right? And how does it all happen? It all happens because vehicles are getting more and more software defined. It's just to give you a sense of reference, a modern day car has 100 million lines of code inside the car. Compare that with a Boeing Dreamliner, which has 14 million lines. Can you imagine the complexity? Now, people define the cars in multiple different ways, you know. It's a vehicle on road, of course. It's a lounge on 4 wheels. It's a data center on 4 wheels. It's a smartphone on 4 wheels. Irrespective of how you define it, the fact is that the cars of the future, the cars of today, modern luxury is going to be built on software-defined vehicles, and anything which connects them, and connectivity for this software-defined vehicle is paramount, right? Just imagine you bought your best possible car. Let's go on a trip, right? You go to Lonavala, and on that little blind curve, when everything is going fine, right, the network goes, right? You don't have great music. The backside of your vehicle, where you might have your kids sitting, they suddenly lose their Amazon Prime. And, you know, when are we going to get there? You know, Dad, when are we going to get there? Starts to happen. The maps go haywire. What has suddenly happened? The connectivity goes, right? You're suddenly reduced to a physically comfortable vehicle, which I had 25 years back, right? That can't be a scalability model. That can't be an evolution, right? And that's the kind of promise that we bring to the market, right? Here's a story of a luxury auto company. Of course, they are one of the leaders, very iconic brand. The challenges for them were very similar to any other OEM. They produce in one country. They distribute the cars in multiple countries, right? All of us, when we land in a new country, we are used to our mobile phones kind of switching to the best available operator, right? We don't even think about it, how that happened. For a car to be shipped from one country to 150 markets and still be able to connect to the right network is a big deal, or was a big deal for them, right? In those countries, there was unreliable network. So you can imagine that somebody producing a car in Mumbai, this is not a Mumbai car maker, by the way, can they have any chance of determining what the quality of service or quality of network would be if the car landed in Brazil? Probably not, right? So the network, uncertainty of the network was an unknown. Unreliable networks was a reality. The cost of connectivity was huge. You can imagine the customer experience they were delivering to their own customers, right? And there was a very high touch operation. So when the car landed in Brazil or when the car landed in US, just the amount of effort it took to get the car out of the dealership into the hands of the driver was immense. Not to mention the immense complexity of maintaining that car on the road. Those were the complex issues that they were facing. Move, with its intelligent and context-aware connectivity around the world, was the solution. But I want to call out a few things here. Connectivity by itself was one of the value propositions. The Move platform today has a view of network connectivity of multiple different network operators around the world whose connectivity we aggregate and we orchestrate. What does that mean? For the end customer, the connectivity stays the constant. We abstract the complexity. So your car will stay connected, irrespective of whether it is this operator or that operator giving you the best quality of service. And we hide it, we abstract it, and you get the best service. Not only that, looking at all this data, we are able to derive some very, very meaningful data insights. And I'll give you one example of what that data insight is and how it is applied and how OEMs are using it. And that's just the quality of service. Imagine if I was to tell you what the connectivity on your mobile phone will be at 7:39 p.m. tonight, where you will be and what your connectivity will be. Do you imagine how many use cases you can spring out of that? I'll tell you about one use case, and the use cases are immense. So anyways, we delivered a global platform to the OEM, which connects the vehicles across the board. The time it takes for them to ship or to ship out the vehicle from the dealership in the hands of the drivers or the customers has reduced dramatically. The customer experience has dramatically increased. Madhu and Arijit spoke about the whole context of identity of the consumer. It's very important, right? In many, many geographies, identifying the buyer is extremely important, right? Doing the KYC is very important. Here's a platform which does KYC for all countries in the world, and that's a big deal, right? I mentioned about the data insights. We know how the networks perform across the world. Using this intelligence, we are able to predict which network will behave how for a given vehicle at a given point in time. Just imagine the power of that statement. It can be used to improve the driver experience, because now I know when you are traveling from your office to your home, what connectivity you will be subjected to. Imagine what that can mean to a first responder vehicle. I can keep the vehicle connected at all points of time. For this customer, we could use that intelligence to predict the right time to push down data into the car. I mentioned that these cars are 100 million lines of code. When an equipment has so many lines of code, your phone gets updates every day, right? Or not every day, every so often. Your laptops get updated, so do the cars. But in many cases, these updates just fail because there's no network availability. But now, if I know that your car will be connected for this period of time, at such a time on Saturday, I'll just push the update at that time, right? So it ensures a much higher update of software, of data packs inside the car. And that's a tremendous advantage. So overall, what we provide is, of course, an ability for the car to connect, a very secure mechanism to offboard the data from the car into secure networks of the customer, an ability to perform analysis of that data from multiple different dimensions, the quality of service being one of them, and using our ability to switch networks, putting all this together, we've been able to reduce the total cost of ownership by about 20%. So that's one of the stories, how we are enriching, how we are enabling this OEM to simplify and amplify the user experience, the customer experience of the drivers and their own customers. And vehicles are not the only ones we are connecting. We are actually empowering, and we are actually connecting the infrastructure on which these vehicles run. So this is just another example of how we are illuminating smart cities. You saw that in the video as well. Here's the case of a smart city, one of the largest cities in Saudi Arabia. They took an initiative to turn the city into a smart city, a very, very citizen-centric view of what the citizen needs, not what the technology can do, right? So they took a very citizen-centric view of what the citizens needed, and they came up with a charter. One of the biggest things that they wanted to do was just smarten up the lighting infrastructure. It had an implication on the efficiencies, on the expenditure, on the citizen safety and environmental impact, right? So we went ahead and implemented an end-to-end solution which today powers over 80,000 street lights. Well, this is just this example. I think we power over a quarter billion lights across, even in India. So that's the kind of solution we implemented. And of course, the benefits in real tangible terms were tangible energy savings, a fundamental reduction in the cost of operations and maintenance. Of course, the lamp glow rate has improved to close to 95%. Streets are illuminated. The safety of the citizens is actually enabled, and a significant impact on the environment, 10,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions. That's the reduction. So that's how, that's just another example of how we are enabling cities with the technologies and the solution stack that we have. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's the last story I wanted to take you through. Thanks.
Thank you.